Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their afternoon wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet, unless it happens to be nighttime or early morning, especially if you're over there in Aussie land or Russia or China or somewhere like that. Um, this is the author's Quill. I'm sitting here with John Goodwin today and myself, of course. No, we're all very well behaved on this show. Yes, we are. We're very, very well behaved. And there's no politics on here. I already seen somebody drop me a text on my message about something about crazy people. So we don't really talk about that either. But if you got any questions today about anything author related or editing related, I was listening to John's show earlier, and they were basically talking about how to properly edit and how they miss things or how things can get missed. And I was actually working on something else, and I had it happen to have it on. Uh, that's weird how she got her job as an editor too. By the way, that's a strange story when you listen to it. But y'all can go by and check it out. It's actually archived now. You can find it on SoundCloud, I believe, and on probably on YouTube and everywhere else. You can check it out. It aired about an hour ago. Of course, the professional just finished airing just a few minutes before us. No telling what Echo was listening to because I was actually doing something else at the time. I was actually working on something else at the time. What's that, Jimmy? I'm supposed to be in third week of September. Actually, I'm supposed to be there. Yes. So I haven't heard any changes yet as of right now. It's the entire third week of September. I'm supposed to be in LA. Yes, I'll just be hanging out, walking around, catching suntan, stuff like that. Things along those lines. Maybe having a cocktail or something. No, it's a closed filming session. We're just wrapping up. Um, so on these, what all I do is I'm the narrator. Basically, is what I am. So these are reenactment of cases of people who've had strange events happen to them, and I'm just narrating the case. Yes, it's a real simple kind of thing. You get to watch the reenactment, and I go through and narrate it as it's going on. Well, there's some pretty scary stuff up in there. Yes, there's some pretty wild stuff up in there as well. I'll see. I know the pilot and the first two episodes were on Netflix for about a year. They were for about a year, yeah. And I know that 2, 3, and 4 should be coming up pretty soon. They may already be out. I don't know. It's so. I mean, you can go look at it. You can just type in my name, or it's. Well, what do you mean? It's the reenact. Damn, I can't speak the band. Last night I was having a hard time pronouncing words. It's just simply called the reenactment of an abduction. Yes, it's well, maybe it's not simple, but the 3 hour they were the first 3 hour for a while, and you got to love Netflix and Prometheus and so on. It doesn't matter what TV network this is, they never tell you. They'll tell you something. Oh, it's going to be out in like a month. They'll tell you it's going to be out in like 6 months, or man, a year later you're still waiting to see the shit, and then you find out. You know how I find that stuff's been out? Because people approach me. That's how I find out. Out of the blue, people just start talking to me for no reason. That's how I find out. I'll be standing in a grocery line, and oh, man, we seen you on Netflix, or we seen you on Ancient Aliens, or we seen you on Discovery or Sci-Fi. Yeah, okay. Thanks for letting me know it's going to be out there. Because you just, it's weird. You be just standing there making your groceries and all kind of, yeah. Well, so from this year, just another weird thing. So John and them give away these Writers of the Futures T-shirts every year. This year's a white T-shirt. So it's funny, but for some reason or another, this particular T-shirt is when I'm out and about just bumming around, like that's at the grocery stores, at the library, just different places, people start to ask me about the T-shirt. And I feel that I need to give them a complete rundown on how it is and what it's about. What's even weirder than that, though, I noticed a couple of times now, like the other day we're at the bank, the girl noticed a shirt, and when I looked across, she was over there sketching out some wild looking character. I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was wild looking. It's cool looking, but and then we were at the grocery store the other day, and I was wearing it, and the girl said something about it. I said, no, well, if you win, you can go. And then she pulls out this sketch next to the register. I'm thinking, well, shit, man, I need to get one of these jobs where you can sketch out there and not do any work. Oh, I don't know, but they were actually pretty good. But it is nice to see, but people recognize weird things. I can wear one of the black shirts with the dragon on it, unless I'm in a particular crowd, nobody even asks me. For some reason, the white shirt, maybe because it's white and the blue colors, I don't know. I wish I knew. It's just weird how different people approach it about different stuff. And of course, it's summertime down here in the deep south, so everybody's wearing white. Oh yes, everybody's wearing white. Yeah, it's just even my beard. See, my weird beard's white. That's how hot it is, man. Even my face is wearing white. You see how that worked out? Yeah, you segue right into that, huh? No, John's in Alaska or someplace. Yeah, something about he needed to get out of LA to take a vacation. He's in Alaska. Yes, he's up there selling books to them ignorant people in Alaska that can't read. That's what it is. Have any of y'all ever been to Alaska? I have been. John, you ever been to Alaska?
Yep. Yeah, I've been to Ketchikan, I think 3 different times.
It's an interesting place. You know, it all depends on what time of year you go too. How interesting it's going to be.
Ketchikan, it's just raining all the time.
Yeah. Well, is that place? So somewhere along the coast, right over there above BC, Vancouver, and all, there's an area up there. It never snows. It kind of almost looks rainforesty. The temperature's kind of moderate. I mean, because it's right there. I mean, it's in Alaska, but I see these on TV all the time, and they're some off the grid group that lives up there. Everything is off the grid. All the water's off the grid. All the electrical's off the grid. It looks like an interesting place to live. Matter of fact, a lot of these places you can only get to by boat. They're like decent sized islands. I don't know people, but it looked like a cool place to live. Mm-hmm. Well, I know I was watching the one guy. He was out there working on his generator when a pod of whales comes swimming through. I'm like, whoa! Now that's getting a little wild. Now you got a pod of whales coming through. Oh wow! I can't think of his name right now. What was he like the 1800s? He was around when Mark Twain was around. What's the name? The Call of the Wild. What?
Jack London.
Yeah, thank you. I can remember the book. I just couldn't remember his name. Yeah. I'm always been lousy with names. If I don't know you and I don't say your name a lot, I doubt I'm going to remember it. Well, no, his I mean, it depends what you're into. Used to like to read a little bit of everything. Well, now I absorb it through this means, yes, through the kind of means like this. If you're a writer, just go to writersoffuture.com. Or if you're an illustrator, it's all you got to do is go over there and take a good look at the rules and submit according to the rules. Christopher, I can't see that. No. You'd have to send it to my messenger. Yep. Well, you can send it to my messenger and I can put it up online. Yeah, you can show stuff off your messenger on StreamYard. Yes, you can. Works pretty good, actually. No, I think. Where are you next, John? You are in Tampa next?
Yeah, I head out to Tampa in 2 weeks, and then a week after that, we meet up with you in Atlanta for the Dragon Con. In the month after that, in Salt Lake City for FanX, and a month after that in Frankfurt, Germany for the Frankfurt Book Fair.
I know, isn't it nice he gets to go to Germany? I know, I'm with you, Denise. She said, bite me, man. I know, she's just, well, my wife grew up in Germany. She spent a good bit of her, she was an Army brat, so she spent a good chunk of her teen years over there. Mm-hmm. No, she liked it. She talks about it all the time. And she speaks fluent German, so when she's cussing me, I'm like, what? You know. Well, hey, at least if you don't know what it is, you don't know what it is.
Emily spent quite some time in Germany, too, when she was a youngster.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Emily's his wife, Emily Goodwin, yes. No, y'all seen her before. She's been on air before, yeah. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, just recently when they were in San Diego Con, you can see her in the background. Yeah, we were harassing. John was harassing. I was actually behaving myself.
All right, so now we're getting into your own fiction now.
No, I was behaving. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, right. With both you and Sarah there.
That's it.
So now I want to text Marie, say she can anytime she's available, she can pop in now.
Well, tell her, yeah, anytime she wants. We're just hanging out. So it's an open door.
Yeah.
Oh no, there was a communication glitch with the first guest. So. Well, I don't know. We'll rectify whatever it was. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen from time to time. What's that, Denise? No, no. Well, both the guests have been on before. It's not their first time on. Yes. No. No, we're not going there. Uh, You mean music? Music? Yeah, we can do music, but most of the shows play some sort of music.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, actually, this show right now, most of these shows right now are set up. Ooh, excuse me. Are set up for Ronald Reagan's speech he gave. It's a 3.5 minute long speech. That's actually been the music for it. It's a oh, it's a good speech. Oh yeah, it's a unite the country type speech. It's a good speech. It doesn't matter what party you are. It's a good speech. Yeah. Well, I'm a centrist, and it's still a good speech. A lot of my Democrat friends like it. It's just one of them speeches that rings true.
Yeah.
It's
Reagan
only
was good at that stuff.
yeah. Well, it's only just because it's a political season, guys. All that goes away in 3 months, almost exactly 3 months. You won't be hearing any more political stuff on here, unless some funky monkey business goes on. I don't know. And you know what? Go listen to last night and you'll find that out. We talked about that last night. Oh, yes, we did. We talked about New York and California in great detail, as a matter of fact. Go listen and see. Well, one of our hosts is from Cali. Yeah. Yeah. Sean Patrick Hazlitt is from Cali. Yes.
But
Which
he was
I'm
also past winner.
yes. And we were talking, it was some of all that lovely stuff. It's a lot of fun to talk about. Now
But
go
before
listen and
Marie,
see.
but before Marie comes on, since this actually is the show about authors, the author's quill. The one thing that I would like to address is all those authors out there who are, in a doubt or a quandary whether or not you should can finish your story or keep on going on. A couple weeks ago, I was in Clearwater. I did a writing workshop with Orson Scott Card, and one of the first barriers you have to overcome as an author is, first of all, starting, but then the second one is actually finishing what you start. And that's also Robert Heinlein's part of his laws too, is, finish what you start and then you send it out. But the first thing you got to do is actually complete a story. And it's just interesting how some people think that when you start playing music, start a sport, nobody expects you to all of a sudden be a master pianist or a master guitar player or a master football player. But somehow or another, when you write a book, okay, well, did it sell? For you to expect that it's going to be anything other than a beginning attempt is not right. And if someone pushes that on you, it's no different than saying that you're supposed to go out and hit the football field and play against the varsity team right away. It's just, there's not going to happen. So that's the first thing, that you got to get rid of any ideas that your first book is going to be a tour de force. It's going to be your first book, your first attempt. And that's one of the things also on the online writing workshop that we do with the Writers of the Future. Joe's already mentioned writersofthefuture.com. You can do it. And that's where you get all this great lectures from Orson Scott Card, Tim Powers, and Dave Farland. Orson Scott Card, of course, is the guy that wrote Ender's Game. Tim Powers wrote On Stranger Tides. He's a 2-time World Fantasy Award-winning author. And Dave Farland, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he had, 10 New York Times bestsellers. And he was kind of like, all three of these guys they're brilliant at teaching writers how to write. And when they broke up how to write a short story, and you're mentioning my wife, Emily, she's the one that actually scripted this course, the free online course, and had all these authors do these videos of how to start a story, how to do dialogue, how to create suspense, how to make a story move along, how to finish a story, all these different steps. I think it's 13 different videos. And it's just amazing, what it did to the quality of stories being submitted to the contest. So this is something that's available. So if you yourself want to become a writer or trying to improve your game, or somebody else who wants to be a writer but doesn't know what to do, this is something you can actually do. You've done the course, a couple times, Joe?
Yes, yes. Don't keep reminding me, damn it. I'm
Yeah.
just teasing people. It's a really great course. It really is. I like to give John trouble, but it is. It Well, I mean, between the course and if you get lucky enough to win, and what you're going to learn while you're there, I mean, it can really boost your career in a major way. It can take you to the level where you're not so much just writing for fun, but you're writing to make a living. It's a big difference. One of the reasons I do two of the jobs that I do, two of the professions I'm in, is because I like doing it and I get a sense of satisfaction. Well, I've interviewed, I think, what do I tell you, John? Up to 200 now between the
Yeah.
judges and winners. So, and that's just with them. It's not any other authors. And I've been doing interviews for over 25 years now. So you get a good feel for people, and a lot of people, they just really love doing this, and if they can make a living doing it and still love it, I mean, shit, you can't ask for better than that.
Yeah.
If you like what you do, well, Christopher, I do radio because I like doing radio. I have a lot of fun, and I do the different types of shows I do because of my own particular interest, like this one, and Science and Beyond, and Undercover, and News on the Flip Side. I do those shows because it's an interest I personally have, and it's a way for me to vent as well too. So I enjoy it. I have fun with it, and even though it takes up my time, I still have fun with it. And I do construction because I like to see the completion of my work when I'm done. It's just, it gives me this sense of completion. So if you can be an author and make money out of, Jesus, I mean, come on. You're liable to make everybody in your family happy, your wife, your husband, whoever it may be. Well, because like I said, I've talked to a lot of authors, and it's not always just easy to pull a book out of your head. Even though John and them prove you can do it in 24 hours, by the way. Um, oh yes, they have proved it multiple times that I've personally seen it. I've witnessed it for 5 times, and they've been doing it for 40 years. So, I mean,
Yeah.
have y'all been doing the 24 hours for a whole 40 years? I
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
add.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people, guys. We're talking out here. Um, that they pull these 24-hour stories out of. So they can be done, yes. I think sometimes if you overthink things, you're just basically kicking yourself in the ass. It just, you get to a point where you get twisted into something. It was like when they were talking about editing books, and the writer keeps looking over the word because, as far as the writer's concerned, the word's there. But when the reader gets to it, the word's not actually there. Or when editors get to a point where they're missing stuff because they've read it, and they just keep missing it. It's That happens to all of us. And I mean, if you're just sitting there writing a book and you just trying to force yourself, it's never gonna be a good book. So far, all the authors and judges and people I've talked to, and people I know that have written big books like Communion and stuff like that, they said them books just flowed. They just wrote them. They weren't forcing to find the answer. They weren't forcing for the ending of the beginning. The book just, it's like when I've talked to a couple of sculptors off the year, and they tell me that the sculpture's already there. They're just bringing it out of the rock. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I'm not an author, and I'm not a sculptor. No, no. Let's not even get to my best illustration. John knows this is a stick man. And it's not even a good stick man. That's kind of scrinkly, wrinkly kind of stick man. Y'all think I'm kidding y'all? I'm not. No, but on a serious note, if you are looking and you think you have the talent, submit. I mean, the worst you can do is not win. And it's not like there's a bunch of bullies over there that's going to pick on you about not winning. No, everybody always is real nice. No. Well,
Yeah. It's interesting. The thing, it's an interview that Aaron Hubbard did when he wrote this book. And it was an interview with the Rocky Mountain News, a newspaper in Colorado. And because you're talking about, like, how it just flowed on some of these guys when they wrote their books. And he said, and one of the questions from the reporter was, how would L. Ron Hubbard describe himself as a writer? And he said, and his response was, I don't know if I can take it any further than that. I've always had the ability to put an idea down on the page. I don't really outline, I just write. I think if I wanted to be characterized in a certain way as a writer, I would ask it to be that I'm a writer who loves to write. That is not as axiomatic as it may sound. There are a lot of writers who don't like to write, and some who even hate it but are still called writers because they make a living at it. the 9 to 5 type, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it has never been that way with me. I don't watch the clock when I write. In fact, I've gone days without sleep just because I was enjoying myself so much I just plain forgot. How could one forget to sleep? Well, just imagine doing something that is more exciting than anything you've ever done and see if you worry or think about a coffee break or what time it is. That's what I mean by my being a writer who loves to write. That's really
True
no other
too.
way to say it.
That's true. I mean, I catch myself getting into things and just, all of a sudden I'll hear Lynn in the background go, it's like 3 a.m. Right? I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It's like last night I was piddling around because I finally got the studio cool enough to working again. And I got up to go do something and I looked down and it was 4:40 in the morning. I'm like, you got to be crazy, man. So I just turned everything off and went and got in bed. But people, you just get wrapped up in, you're having a good time. I enjoy what I do. And sometimes I
Yeah.
get pissy, but especially when I got to work in a studio that's 140 degrees, it makes me look cranky. But it's I enjoy what I do. I mean, it's not that it can't get aggravating. It can be, but still, I enjoy it. I just finished a job the other day. This company, this guy had all these big companies come out here. They never could get this place to look right. I went over there, and the guy was just so pissed because I went over there in 2 hours, $500 in 2 hours, and made it look like it did the day it came. Day he bought it. He was like, "How in the?" I said, "Dude, it wasn't that complicated." He said, I spent over $6,000, right? And still, it looked like it did when you got here. I was like, "It wasn't that complicated." I said, "You should always look for when it comes to stuff like that. I said, you should always look for a contractor that has multiple job and years of experience." I said, they'll fix it because we get a lot of stuff that I live in New Orleans. It's an old city. It's a lot of old stuff in it. A lot of the doors are 8 and 9 foot tall. They're all custom back from 300 years ago and stuff. It's a weird place to live and work. You got to have patience, and you got to like beauty. It's one of the things I like about it. I hate when we get jobs where we're just remodeling apartments. I mean, you can make them look good, but they still apartments. What's that, Denise? No. John is like worth like $50 million. He got this. He owns a big complex on Hollywood Boulevard. Well, he's only got one wife because Emily is not putting up sharing that bullshit. She's not going there, but he would. But no. The boss lady ain't going for it. Oh no, I'm serious, man. True Lord. He got a car that stretches halfway around damn Hollywood Boulevard.
Show. This is an author show.
Hey, Arthurs have big cars. Now let's not
Unless you're
lie.
showing how to create fantasy here.
We know there's
Joe's
some
fantasy hour.
stinking Richie Arthurs out there. Oh no, Jimmy. Some of these guys are wealthy. Oh yeah. I'm not saying they all are, but there's a difference between being stinking rich and wealthy, which some of these authors really are, but some of them are just comfortable. And what I mean by that is it's not they're enjoying their life. Their homes are probably paid for. Their vehicles are probably paid for. They can travel when they want to. A lot of times they get paid to travel because once you reach a certain plateau as an author, or for that matter, a lot of different things, people will pay you to come speak and come hang out, to bring attention to their conferences and stuff like that. Yeah, because you want big names there because big names bring people. Yes,
Speaking
that's
of
what.
which, you're going to be coming. You're going to be joining us in Atlanta at the end of this month for DragonCon, and just in addition to the big name Joe Montaldo is going to be there, we're going to have Kevin Anderson and his wife Rebecca. We'll have Hugh Howey and his wife Shay, Larry Niven, Steve Sterling, Orson Scott Card, Rob Sawyer, Jody Denline, and
Yeah, my
Nancy
girlfriend
Kress.
Jody will be there.
They're all going to be there. They're going to be on the Rise of Future panel. They're all going to be at the Rise of Future booth throughout the weekend. So that'll be pretty fun.
Carol, how'd you find out about that? I am doing it's NBC's coining it how to deal with podcasting. Well, what happened was real fast story. So this company from StreamYard contacted me about how do you get yourself on podcasts and how do you handle certain types of guests on as a podcaster versus radio, because you got to remember AM/FM radio has some rules whereas podcasting does not. Okay, there are no rules in podcasting, especially anything going over the internet and not being on like YouTube. really has no rules. So it's how do you deal with that? So I just got wrapped up in it. So I had given a lecture at Tulane University on just how to deal with interviews, hostile interviews in the media, and I do something similar for John and much on a little smaller details, but still. So anyway, they caught. Long story short, they caught a glimpse up and asked me if I'd come do an hour. They're going to have like I think 6 or 7 of them this year around the U.S. that they just want me to come speak at because the guy said I've never heard anybody talk like you about just get up and walk off a stage. I was like, yeah, well, I mean, if you're being tore apart, I mean, all you can do is make yourself look worse. If you get up and leave in the guest, it's just to host is like. Remember now the host has got to fill this time, and it really can't hate on you because if the host does, it makes him look even worse. Because when a guest walks out on a host, it's never a good thing. And all the audience does is start second guessing what did the host do to make this guest get up, unless it's just some crazy person. Um, Same thing with phone calls. You don't have to take the abuse. It's your interview. You're in control. You're always in control. And if you let the host, for the host, it's an illusion of control. We're out there, asking questions. Jimmy, you can send questions. Okay, I'm going to be honest about this. You can send questions. Most people will send 20 questions into a guest and hope to a host and hope that host will ask those questions. But sending me questions usually irritates me, which means I'm going to ask you harder questions now. Yeah, that's all it means. Because I usually have a list of questions I want to ask to a guest. But there is, so the course really, the lecture really comprised of how to be a good guest and how to be a good host and how to deal with a hostile interview. It's only an hour long. And it's about a 20-minute Q&A at the end of it. Yeah, it's the first one is in D.C. actually. Well, and it's worked out for me because I'm going to be in D.C. for another reason that week. So it kind of worked out. What politics? I every now and then I lecture on politics. I prefer not to if I don't have to, though. Because I'm not a Republican and I'm not a liberal. So it's hard for me to lecture on. Yes. I like talking about authors and stuff. I get asked about it a lot when I'm out in the field. I get asked a lot about it. I get asked about these guys a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling John the other day if I got $1 for every time I brought his his .com up, I could freaking retire. Oh hell yeah! No, they're a great group of people. We got a guest coming in a few minutes. Renee, what is it? What are you talking about? Oh no. Okay, you'd have to write to John about that.
Hi. So we're ready for you to log on whenever you're ready.
So
Oh,
no,
so,
you have to write to John about that. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I sent you a link. You can click on it now.
If she's got a problem, I can send it again. It's like
Yeah, he'll send it again to you now.
it's hold on.
Yeah, email. Okay.
Okay, let me grab it. No, that was that. I know what interview you're talking about. You can go listen to it. It's up. It's still up. That's the one with Chelsea. It's a good interview. There's a lot of information. No, that's what I said though. You'd have to write to John. There's questions we can't address
What's the
right
question?
now because we're talking about other stuff.
Oh,
But
this is religion stuff.
yeah. So
Okay.
just write to John. No, John will answer you. He would
Yeah.
answer you right if we were just talking about normal stuff. I'd let him answer it now. But
You can, if you have a question, I'm jgoodwin at galaxypress.com.
yeah, I mean, don't.
Yeah.
I don't,
Okay, one second. Let me check. Marie at SSWRI.
So I'm gonna send her one right now.
Okay, so she's coming in now.
Or is it because I was gonna send her another one? I just had pulled up her email right as you said that. All right, there we go.
Okay.
Just in case I send her a backup.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Okay, bye.
Yeah. It's
So she's
put that over
coming in.
yonder. All right. Put
And then
that over there.
I also emailed you a forwarded email from her to you, which has an image she'd like to be able to show as well to talk about some.
Oh well, let me go pull the email back open then. It's Let's pop. You know what? Let's open it in Google, since I'm in Google right now. Drag her up in there.
You guys
Hello.
There you
hear me
go.
okay?
Yeah. Hey, Marie.
Hey, let me turn this up some. Okay, am I echoing at all? Because I can
yes.
headphones. All right, 1 second.
Yahoo.
Sorry I wasn't looking at the Superstars email.
It's okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Is that better?
Going cyborg. Okay.
Okay. Make sure.
Make
There
sure
you
your laptop is off. Make sure it's off so that's not, you don't get double sound.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on except for this machine, and I just put on headphones, so the echoing should be all gone.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah, you sound good on my end, so.
All right, great.
All right, Yahoo, open yourself up here.
So
I told him to open up the email that you sent me with that one image. With you sent me the link, so I won't do that. But for those of you who know, this is Marie Whittaker. She's the goddess of superstars and a lot of other things too.
Oh boy,
she's amazing. Just an amazing person. You were a guest on the podcast, my podcast, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Epic fantasy author, and so you do all kinds of stuff, and you work with Kevin a lot on helping him teach his master's program.
Yep, I'm actually going to be real faculty after next year. I've been a guest instructor for the longest time, and the actual university is going to bring me on to do some official work. So I don't know. I just love it up there. Like we have so much fun, and that grad program is amazing. It's just, it's the best time. And we always get the best group of students, between superstars and some of them, of course, writers of the future. It's like we're all sort of ingrained in this cool writing community. And it's like, it's the best thing ever. It's really great.
It's really good. Yeah, and Joe, this might be something too. At one of these points, we get Kevin Anderson onto the Author School talking about this. He's got this master's program he teaches on a graduate program on a master class on writing, but it's not creative writing. It's actually how to publish. It gets people so they know how to.
Yeah, see, I like that. That helps crazy people. Well, I meant that in a good way, not in a bad way. But when you're learning new things and you're trying to cram your brain in to write the best novel or best novelette or whatever you're working on, a mess anthology, your brain gets funny, especially if you've got to have a regular 9-to-5 job with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I actually, that's kind of where I come in. I'm a project manager, and I've always been kind of a geek about time management. And so a few years ago, I decided I needed my project management certificate, right? My CAPM. And don't do that to yourself. I mean, CAPM, so project management is huge. It's a huge program, right? Well, we only needed some of the things. So the good news is I was able to kind of cherry pick it, for what I feel creatives really need. And then I developed my program that I teach based on, work-life balance and things like that, because so many of us, I mean, how many of us here still work, 9-to-5 jobs and we're still publishing and stuff like that. So yeah, and we all need a little bit of help, and we all need spare ideas when they happen, so that's what I like to do with writers, both at Superstars and then wherever, especially up at like the grad program for publishing it up in Gunnison with Kevin's program. It's
Yeah.
getting these things in their brains early when they first get started, so that as they become publishers, they can set up their timelines and their calendars and everything, so they don't go completely bonkers between, self-care and family and work, the day job and everything like that. It's just basically teaching them to set up different calendars so that they all integrate, so they don't go bonkers. Just like you were saying, Joe, like people going crazy trying to get it all done. It can be overwhelming, and it can actually ruin your creativity. So
Yes, it can make you
Yeah.
freaking crazy too. John, send it again because I don't see it. For some reason, it's only giving me back to your teaser, and that's as far back as it's going.
Okay.
And,
I'm
which is, I
going
know it's like 2 days ago. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. It's just I wanted
No
to see what
worries.
you were talking about. It's well, no, I mean, because I know a lot of authors, a lot of writers. You know what? To a friend of mine got mad at me. He's a professional writer. He writes 9 to 5 is what he writes. It's got like 146 books to his credit.
Holy
And
buckets.
so the other day I called him an author. He said, I'm not an author. I was like, what do you mean you're not? He said, I'm a writer. I said, well, what's the difference? He said, there's a difference. I'm like, what do you mean there's a difference? Explain. And then he went into this 40-minute. I said, okay. So I know what the hell you're talking about at this point. I said, it sounds like jibber jabber, my friend. And, but he does. He writes he likes to write in like esoteric fields and stuff like that. I mean, he writes in a lot of. I shouldn't say that because he writes in a lot of different fields, but I don't know how you do 9 to 5.
Boy, so with like me, my 9 to 5, that's when I try to do my WordFire Press work, my Superstars work, and I work more than 5 days a week, because I still am training our new director over at Superstars, and I'm going to become the executive director now that we're a nonprofit. So, I work full time for Kevin at WordFire Press and doing KJA stuff. I'm also his personal assistant. So that right there is a full-time job, right?
Yeah,
Superstars, especially as we get closer to February, which is when our conference happens, it can really, I end up working, 60, 70, 80 hours in a week, if not more. But it's kind of like you expect that when you're putting on a conference. You know what I mean? Right. The month before the conference, you're kind of, everybody's going bonkers, just trying to get the last pieces in place and stuff. So I love it. It's something that I look forward to every year. So
yeah. Oh no, I can understand that. I know anytime we're traveling or doing things, and we get in those zones where we're home and then we're not. And we're just gone for weeks on end and stuff, and you're back, and it's weird because you get close to home sometimes. It's like you fly over.
I've flown over Colorado before.
Don't I live down there?
Oh,
well, see, John don't get to fly over nothing because he's out there at the end of the world, so he's just got to go until he gets to the end of the world.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm right smack dab in the middle, because I'm kind of. Yeah, I'm just right in Colorado, southern Colorado, and it's kind of in the.
Well, every time I drive to Utah, it drags me through Colorado. Every time, and it takes me a different route. I've done it like 5 times now, and every time it does a different route. It's weird.
Yeah, so I am 9 hours from Salt Lake City. If I were to get in a car and take off and want to go to Salt Lake City, that's where I am. And everybody, when they go to Utah, it seems like everybody comes through Colorado. So it's good because I get to, touch base with friends on their way if they want to stop in or something like that, which you should probably stop and see some of the things in Colorado because.
Well, we were coming back and we spent like 3 hours crossing an Indian reservation. Like, no cell phone towers, got in these hills that were like, you couldn't even get an FM radio, man. It was bad. It was bad. I was like, oh, this is. Thank God I had music on my phone so I could hook it to my car. But I was like, no cell phone. You can forget that. And everybody was doing 90, 100 miles an hour. I was like,
holy
obviously. Well, man, we blew by the cop like 5 of us. He didn't even look up. I was doing 90. Well, I think the speed limit was 85 anyway, but he didn't even look up. He was like, whatever, people, don't kill yourselves.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy ride, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of beautiful stuff in Colorado. I could see where it could be inspiring to be a place to live, to write.
It is. It's like I write in our backyard right now because it's summertime and I live on a mountain, right? The mountain is just right out here. And we have a deck out back, and it's not a huge deck, but we put a swing out there. And for some reason, swinging on that swing first thing in the morning, because I write really early before I go into work so that work doesn't crush my creativity, you know?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I sit out there and swing and rock, and it is so conducive. Right. I'm considering putting a swing in the studio here somewhere. Something about swinging with my laptop in my lap. I don't know. I just, before I know it, there's 2,500 words, and that's a trick. So this is my first year doing that. So I'm going to keep that going.
Yeah,
so Joe, just so you know, we had Todd Fanastek on last week. So Marie, that universe that we talked about with his book, she writes in that universe too. So she has her own continent there. I do.
Mine is Pyrodon. So I've always been fascinated with fire and stuff like that. And so when we were creating Eldros Legacy, I knew I wanted a lot of volcanoes and things like that. So Pyrodon, we named my continent Pyrodon just because of all the volcanoes. And then, of course, for me, creatures living in a mountain and like a volcano, if the mountain was a volcano, that would be some sort of a fiery dragon kind of thing. So that's where my stuff, is headed. And I don't know, we really love Eldros Legacy. My next book is almost finished. So that will be the second in my series.
You're supposed to do 5 each, right?
Yeah, well, we weren't really supposed to do 5 each. Todd's turned out being 5 each. I think my first one was supposed to be 3, and then it kind of morphed into, how many books everybody was going to need for their series. But that was like originally way back in the day. Now we're just sort of telling our stories. Like, I don't know if Todd is going to keep writing after his 5 books. I feel like my story is bigger than 5 books. So yeah, we're just going to keep going with the stories, and, we're all able to do our own thing now, which is perfect. So
yeah, but at some point you need to like cross over and.
Well, Todd,
you got your way gate. You got your way gates right now, but then at some point,
our continents actually cross over. Todd and my continent, they're on Noxodon. Some of his royalty is actually from way back. His royalty is actually some of my royalty from way back. So my second book, actually, some of the bloodlines from Noxodon get involved on Pyrodon. So
alrighty then.
Yeah, it's happening. It's just
okay. Janine says she's confused. I'm sorry.
So what's
Okay, Janine, you got to keep up with the conversation. I'm sorry. Well, because this show we can geek out pretty bad sometimes, and see, it's their fault that I geek out. See, I wasn't like this before I met these people. Okay, I just want y'all to know this. I was normal, all right.
He was seriously weird. He was caught up between either
I was
right
normal.
or the left or aliens or like that. We learned him how to read.
So she think I already knew that, but wait, what do you want to know, Jane? What are you talking about? Oh, you want to know what they're talking about? Well, I thought they were telling you what they were talking about.
The Eldros Legacy is an epic fantasy novel series which you have 4 or 5 authors writing.
Oh, I think we have like 9 authors.
9 authors now.
But we have 5 continents, and then we all have our own schools of authors that we bring in, out of the writing community to write with us in our little individual worlds, but they all touch on one another. So yeah.
So it's a real fun epic series. I originally interviewed them at Superstars Writing Conference 2 years ago, and I had 4 of you there. I think in the there's 4 of the authors in that universe writing, and I'd read each of their books, one of the books in that universe, to be able to have the interview, and so it was great just seeing them, just the beginnings of all the 3 different individual worlds within that one Eldros. And so that's what we're talking about here. So last week we had guest Todd Fanastek,
There you go. There you go. It's
Yeah.
Fonestock. We've
Yeah.
had people butcher his name for years.
Yeah. So he was a guest, and we talked about that. But then Marie is also an author in that universe. So
Oh yeah, there's
that's what we're talking about here. So this is her surprise announcement that we're making that she wanted to talk about. So go ahead.
So for a couple of years, people have asked me where they can get the stuffed animal that goes with Lola Hopscotch, the Lola Hopscotch books. So for a little bit of background, Lola Hopscotch, The Adventures of Lola Hopscotch is an anti-bullying book series for kids to read out loud with their adults to get sensitive childhood issues out in the open before it becomes a serious problem to them later down the road. And so book one concentrates heavily on bullying. And that is Lola Hopscotch on the first day of school. So this is the bunny. This is Lola Hopscotch right here. And the announcement that I am so excited about is they finally did it. They talked me into figuring out how to do plush. And so we are going to do it on backer kit. And I'm working with a team right now. And we're just now developing the prototype. But I'm so excited. Like at first I was like, oh, plush, my gosh, it sounds like so much and everything. So this is my first time making plush. But yeah, you can follow along with the project right there in that QR code. You just snap it with your phone. It'll take you straight over to the pre-launch page. And then you put your email in there and you can follow the project. We're not launching until my birthday, which is March 15th. That's the actual launch day for the campaign, but you can follow along with everything by going over to this link right here and following the project. We'll get the pictures of the prototype up there, and then we'll do some add-ons like there has been talk of a game. Her name is Lola Hopscotch. So maybe in the future we might be able to do, a hopscotch game or something like that. But it's a 3-book series as it stands. The first plush that we're going to do is Lola Hopscotch, and then there are 6 other characters in the little universe in the IP, so we might be able to move on from there, but this is where we're starting. Lola Hopscotch.
Great. And it starts in 223 days, 18 hours, 50 minutes, and 21 seconds.
Right. The countdown has begun.
Oh, Kimberly, it's in there for life. Once it's in our archive, it's in there. So, and you can come back anytime and pull it out of there. It'll be in there. It's 5:09, so it's at 1 hour and 9 minutes into the archive. Yeah. That way, if y'all forget or you can't get it, I know half of y'all aren't watching this on your phone. You're actually watching this on TV or on your computers. Look,
but if you shoot it with your phone right now, you could go over there. A lot of people, you might not have your cell phone sitting with you or whatever, but we'll be able to have a link to this later. Also as well. I'm going to get that up on all my social media.
I guess the biggest problem here is Z-Geners don't know what hopscotch is. It's you people are messed up in the head. Is all I got to tell you. Your mamas did not teach y'all right. I mean, how can you know what that is? That's because y'all didn't have to go outside when you were kids. See, that's what the problem is. I see right off the bat. Oh no,
I don't see it as a problem at all. I think they're going to love understanding what that is. It's it's a game you can play in a gymnasium or outside on the sidewalk, preferably outside on the sidewalk. That's where I learned. But you just take a flat stone and you flip it, and then you have to do the hopscotch maneuvers over to pick up your stone without falling over. Book 1 actually has some pretty good illustrations on Lola Hopscotch learning how to play. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it would be pretty cool.
Kids. That means
you need to talk, too, to be able to chalk up the sidewalk to make your little squares.
Right. Yeah. So it would be cool to put together that game, so that
we're trying to explain to you that you have to go into the fresh air outside to do this. Okay. I know y'all are scared to go out the doors these days, but it's pretty outside. I promise you when you go out. All right. I'm just being mean, but I know where I live, nobody's going outside right now because it's like, oh my God, it's liquid air outside is what it is. Yesterday it was 104 with 98% humidity with a feel like temperature of 120 degrees. Yeah, nobody wants to be outside.
Holy buckets. So where are you?
I'm in New Orleans.
You're in New Orleans?
Yeah. Well, currently right now I'm on the Gulf Coast where I'm at right now, but it's just as bad. No, actually, I'm sorry, just because you're Z-Gen, I didn't know you knew what hopscotch was. You ain't got to hate. Hate on John. John likes being hate on. Oh man, UZ-Gen is a feisty man. Damn.
Well, and I mean, they're
No,
digital natives,
Speaking of
so
feist, Mr. Joe.
I just like to get them riled up, make sure they're out there, living life. Look, all I remember was it was morning on the weekend, like today would be get out the house. And then, you might get back in for lunch if you're lucky. And then you wouldn't get back in until dusk. That was
yeah.
it. Commuter. And then you see today, I guarantee you, if my mom was alive today and I was a kid, first thing she'd do before she kicked me out the house was take my cell phone. I can tell you now, that's what would happen. Oh, give me that. You don't need that while you're out riding on your bike. I'm like, Mom, I can see it. I can see it. What's it? Oh, no. Was I tough on my son about cell phones? He was allowed to get his first cell phone at 16. And he wasn't allowed to use it at certain times and stuff. But yes. Well, no, I just got it because they had GPS, so I knew where his little ass was. That's why he got it. I didn't care he was talking. No, Peter,
Yeah.
you can lock all of that out. So things like this is really good for y'all. And for adults out there, just so y'all know this, you can dictate what your kids see on your computers, on your television, and your phones. Just in case y'all didn't know that, I thought I'd tell y'all that. Yes,
Yeah.
I set them up for friends all the time. You'd be surprised how my friends come. Joe, can you make it where my phone's PG-13? I said, I most certainly can. Bring it over.
Yep. Can be done. So,
yeah, you can be done. It's a good thing.
Uh-huh.
What's that, Morris? Well, where are you, Morris? Boulder, Colorado. I've been to Boulder. It's been a long time, but I've been to Boulder.
Oh, I am in Manitou Springs, so just south, about 2 hours south of you there.
There you go. You mean, I will say this. I was just in Colorado about a year ago, and I was all over the place, and it never bothered me. But for some reason, when we stopped in Denver, we spent the night in Denver on the way through. And, man, I was like, damn. My body's like, you got to get down from here, but this is too high of an air for you. It never bothered me. For some reason that night I was having problems breathing. All the rest of the trip was fine.
Yeah.
Denver and then going to Salt Lake City. Those are like mile-high cities, but you're down there right on the shore. So that's
I live below sea level, so it's a little weird. My body's like, what are you doing up here?
Yeah, it's an adjustment. Like when we do Superstars every year, we have to really coach the attendees to let them know they need to drink a lot of water. They're going to be at like close to 7,000 feet. I think 6,500 feet is where our new venue is. So that's, it's above a mile high. We're a little higher than Denver. Our elevation is here in the mountains. So, drinking water really is the key in getting plenty of rest to avoid altitude sickness while you're in Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're serious people. You can get altitude sickness.
Yep.
I've been higher than Denver for some reason. I guess maybe it was because of the trip we were on that time. But oh no, you mean I don't know. I liked Moab. You're from Moab. I liked Moab. I don't think I would live there, but I did like the town. Mm. No, it's Utah. It's not. It's really close to Colorado, but it's Utah. I'm pretty sure. I remember we were in Colorado, then we were in Utah, then we were in Moab. Yeah, and then we were on some interstate where there was a big alien building, which was weird too. No, Moab was pretty.
That sounds like New Mexico. I don't know.
No, we were up. We were on our way to Salt Lake City is where we were going, and so we went up through Colorado, and then we got up there, and then we hooked a left going across into Utah, and that's where Moab was. It was way to hell up there.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful up there. It's a beautiful place to be.
My boss goes up there once a year. He takes a week for himself, and he goes up there, and I kind of hold down the fort for him. But Kevin J. Anderson, he spends a week in Moab every year.
What's a great place? Got great skies up there. Janine, no, it's not one of the. Utah has, out of the 10 dark sky parks in the United States, Utah has 6 of them, and 3 of the other ones are in Hawaii. So that gives you a thing right there. Oh no, their skies are beautiful there. I've seen them many times. Yeah, I've done many lectures in Utah, and I've gone to visit friends of mine out there. It's pretty. Colorado's pretty. Utah's pretty. The only Colorado I really wanted to spend some time in like the Pueblos and in the valleys, but I just never can seem to get the time up there to just go hang out.
You got to make time.
One thing, Joe, that Marie does too is she runs she organizes and runs the Superstars Writing Conference, which is now up to 350
ish. Yeah, we put a cap on it last year at 400. Just because we don't want to be too big to be able to have our tribe culture and our network.
Yeah.
When we're all together, if we were any larger than 400 people, a lot of it would be lost. We just don't feel like, it would be the same if we grew too big. So we're going to stay small. We're going to keep it, hopefully around 400 or smaller. It's just the way we're designed. It's best.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
our
then
conference this year is probably going to be the biggest.
University of Futures is a big part of Superstars as well.
Yes.
Just with the founders, we're all like judges.
Yep. Sure were. And now your newest judge, Mark Leslie Lefebvre, he's the MC that I get to work with.
Yeah.
I always, tease him and tell him he's the only reason that I feel confident enough to get up on the stage. But he's a natural born MC. Mark is. He's wonderful. Yeah. And he's really great up there. So I go and deliver all the business stuff, and he does the fun. He's just got that personality. So yeah, he's a lot of fun up there.
Yeah.
But we're going to have our big panel, our big Writers of the Future panel again this year. And it's really cool because Mark is going to be there, of course. And then Todd McCaffrey is going to be there, and he is going to come and do some solo talks this year. He's going to do some teaching this year at Superstars. So he will be there. And then we'll have you, John, and we'll have Emily is coming. So we need to just look and see, who all we can get up on the stage. But I'm really excited about the Writers of the Future panel this year in the big main room. This will be our first year over at our new venue. So I'm
anxious to see that place.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It is so pretty over there. Yeah. Wow, you're just going to love it. It's got a spa built in, couple pools, and it's just right on Cheyenne Mountain. So it's about 15 minutes from where I am sitting right now in my house south of here. And
wow, that's cool.
It's a gorgeous venue.
Definitely anxious for that too. And then I'll have the suite again where I'll use that for doing the podcast interviews, because I end up doing like half a dozen interviews during the Superstars conference.
Right. We're going to have Mark Cameron this year, and I haven't been able to link you up with him yet. But he's a thriller author. He writes in Tom Clancy stuff. So he's going to be new this year.
That'd be great.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. I got to meet him at 20 Books to 50K last year, and I didn't know who he was. And he came by our table, and he was sort of checking out the books and stuff like that. And I was like, gosh, he really looks familiar. And Rebecca Mesta was sitting next to me, and I'm like, do you know who that was? And she goes, yeah, that was Mark Cameron. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have got to meet him, And so I started stalking him right then. I was stalking him all over 20 Books in the vendor hall, and I finally got to talk to him, and he was everything that I'd heard, just a real sweet human. And I ended up inviting him to Superstars, telling him a lot about what we had going on. And he's like, I would love to come. So
well, that's good.
I'm really, really excited that he's
Jeffrey, you're talking about 20 books to $50,000. Yeah, it's
20 Books to 50K. It's Author Nation now, because 20 Books has retired, and then now Author Nation has taken over the conference side of what they had going on. So we're going this year. Kevin and Rebecca and me, we're going to go and see what Author Nation is all about. We're excited about it.
Who owns Author Nation now?
Joe Solari, and then he's the one that we're working with for programming. I think he's the main, point of contact there. But his wife, Suze, is apparently helping with like different programming and for vendors and people, like me representing Superstars down there. I'm going to, be working with her too. So, yeah, I don't know. This is our first time working with them. So far, so good. It's going to be fun, I think.
Yeah, Craig Martell was there. And then there was also... who's the other one that actually
Michael
started?
Anderley.
Michael Anderley, yeah.
Yeah. And so, fun fact, I got to spend a lot of time with Michael and Judith Anderley up at the grad program last week in Gunnison. They were our guest instructors, and they were up there all week. I have to tell you, Judith Anderley is a force.
She's amazing. She's been a guest twice on the podcast, and We had lunch last year at Frankfurt Book Fair, and I'll see her again probably this year at Frankfurt. She's a definite force of nature. Yes.
Yep, she was. She is just, so we had them over at Superstars in I think 2019 or 2020, and I hadn't been able to see them since, but getting to spend time with them up at Gunnison and hearing Michael speak. I mean, he's the creative, and she is the down to earth, logical lawyer of the pair, and so she keeps them, rooted to the ground.
And she's the grounder.
Yep, for sure. And what a dynamic between the two of them.
I mean, she's definitely very creative because she had the whole clothing line, the whole thing. The name of their company is all the different cities that are
LMBPN. LMBPN Publishing. Yep.
Hey Rob, nice to see you in the room. Actually, Pete was asking a minute ago. So Pete, basically, no, because they're geeks. That's why. Okay. They know where all this stuff is automated. It's built into their
unapologetically.
Heads. You poor people have not a clue what they're talking about. Okay. Unless you're an author or you're a big fan of following this show or John's show, you have no clue what's going on here. It's so look it all up, because I know a lot of y'all want to go out. I know more and more people write to us these days about how can I get involved? What does it take to be an author? You're talking about, no, Chris? No, you know what you do? Next week before this show, there's a show called The Professional. Echo Chernick's the host. She's a professional illustrator. Stop by her show and drop her a line while she's live. Yeah, you can cheat, okay? I'm not going to introduce you, but you can cheat and drop her a line while you're live. But for everybody else who was wondering what they're talking about different cons and different conferences around the country. There's lots more than y'all think there is. So I forgot who I heard talking about 20 books to $50,000. They were talking about not the conference, but how to make money on 20 books to $50,000. That's probably how that conference ended up getting started. It's but there's so many of these that y'all can check into. And you just heard me talking to John. He's going to be in Tampa in 2 weeks. And if I can get down there, I'll go see him. That's TampaCon, just like he was in San Diego last week, right? San Diego.
San Diego Comic-Con, yeah.
And then Dragon Con's 2 weeks after that. And then you have Salt Lake City Fanix, which is the end of September, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, no, and but people, these are just the really big ones. There are smaller ones all scattered out in between.
There's dozens and dozens and dozens. Yeah.
Todd McCaffrey is Anne McCaffrey's son, and he's crazy.
He is.
Okay? Just so you know, he is crazy. No. I tell him Joe said that. He knows who Joe is. Todd and I have had many fun conversations.
You got to have a conversation with Todd. Todd's great.
It's he's a blast to talk to. He really is.
Yeah.
But no, y'all can look up everything you've heard come out of her mouth tonight. You can look up. So you can go back through the archive. If we're going too fast for y'all, go back to the archive, just write it down, and just go on the internet and look them up. You know what? Maybe I'll get John or somebody right in the future to put y'all a list of places around the country, because I know there's a lot of interest in this. A lot more than I thought there was. I got to be honest.
Well, Superstars is easy. Superstarswriting.com. You can go over there and find out everything. We have a beautiful new website because we just rebranded to become a nonprofit. So that's superstarswriting.com. You can check out Lola Hopscotch stuff at lolahopscotch.com. We've spoken about WordFire Press. You can check us out at wordfirepress.com. And then Galaxy Press, I think that's galaxypress.com, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's an easy one.
And then Fanix, if you just put Fanix in any search engine, you're going to find both of them, or all of them. So you can find all that there. And then look up Author Nation. Huge platform there for Author Nation. So yeah, the one I'm most excited about, of course, is Superstars, because that's the one that's kind of like my baby. You know, I've been doing it this will be my 8th year working at Superstars, but it was founded by David Farland, Eric Flint, Kevin G. Anderson, Rebecca Mesta, Brandon Sanderson, and then later
various names there, people.
Founder James Artemis Owen is the perfect addition. You know, he's so motivational, and so yeah, it's a pleasure to be able to work with them.
Well, Christopher, $10 of them. There you go. You might meet some of these people.
Well, definitely, that's how you meet the people. You go to the conferences. That's why they attend there, so they can meet fans. You can get to know. You can meet the people that you read. They like it. That's why they're there.
Don't send me no books. Send them to writersofthefuture.com. I'm not interested in your damn book. No, send them to John. You wasting your time if you send them to me. There's nothing I can do for you. Send them to John. Writersofthefuture.com. Well, he's not going to read them anyway, but you send them to John and somebody else reads them. There's
John loves to read books.
Yes. Jody, the big boss, is going to read them first.
Yeah.
Well, no, when they get no, Kurt, before you even start in on that crap, they are blind judged. Once the judges get them, it's a number only. They don't know what color you are, or what sex you are. They don't know anything about you other than what you just whatever the book is all they know. So you're being judged simply by your writing and nothing else, which is where it should be. Yeah.
That's how we do our scholarship process too. Over at Superstars, we have a big scholarship program, and it's blind.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, we have 6 different scholarships now that you can apply for Superstars. The application window just closed because our conference is coming up, but we open it up in May to win a scholarship to come to Superstars.
No, wow. Pete, I'm never sending nothing, right? It'd be like jibber jabber. Drive all the poor. I don't want to drive down a judge is crazy, man. No, indeed, man. I know my limitations in life. Thank you very much. It's everybody has things they're good at and things they're not. Yes. You know, I was picking on Echo one night. I said, "Here, let me show you how good I can draw a stick man." She said, "Joe, it's crooked." I said, "Yeah, I was just telling you that's how good I draw a stick man." I said, some of us just don't have those kind of talents. Being an author takes work, people. I'm not going to lie to you. I've met a lot of them now. Good authors tend to work hard.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know.
It is hard work. It's hard work being an author.
What do you mean, J.K. Rowling? What do you think? I don't even like J.K. Rowling, and still, I know the woman worked hard to get those books out. No, indeed not. You don't write that kind of stuff, and it just pops. Well, I'm sure she was writing in a fluid thing, but she had TV deals. She had to go back and rewrite God knows how many things in them books. And after she gave it to him and it went into screenplay, I guarantee it got rewritten again. It's just part of the game. Yes, well, you want a good book, write a good book. You know, take your time, write a good book.
One thing that's important too is to read a lot. A good writer reads a lot.
Yeah.
So just like
true.
I know you obviously read quite a bit, Marie, because you have to write the epic fantasy that you do. You got to have, because one of the things you have to get as an author is like, how do they do that? You know, how do they introduce a character? How do you create this suspense? How do they create their magic world? You know, so because there's all kinds of things you can have an idea what to do, but to then write it so that it has all that makes a person want to turn the page. Mm-hmm. It's a technology, and so that's what we endeavor to teach on the Rise of the Future workshop that we give. But that's the whole thing about the Superstars is how do you do these things? And so you've got, I mean, how many different panels do you have at Superstars?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. We were running 7 tracks last year, and we're probably going to have more this year because our venue affords us a little more room. But yeah, our tracks. So Thursday through Saturday, usually it's all of the business seminars where, you know, they range from marketing to, you know, everything from concept of a book on up.
So you've got hundreds of panels. And for those of you who don't know, a track is a topic. So like in conferences, you have a business, you can have marketing, you can have there used to be like a Dragon Con, Anne McCaffrey had her own Dragon track, you know, so whatever the subject, Star Wars had a whole, maybe still does. You got these different tracks, and so you have lots of panels on that subject line, and so it goes through the course of the whole week or however many days the conference is, and each one of those is a track with however many panels. Mm-hmm. And so there's hundreds. At Dragon Con there's probably over 1,000. I know that at San Diego Comic Con there's over 1,000.
Yep.
different panels that exist along all the different tracks. So
yeah, gosh, when I first started this, we were all in, I think, one room, and we just stayed in one room. Holy cow! I think there were like 120 people.
I remember attending things like that.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, it feels like we're huge. You know, running 7 different rooms or something at the same time, and then you bring up something like Dragon Con, and oh my gosh, I just could not imagine being working on the program for something like that.
That place is
a
nightmare.
monster.
That is. It is.
Yeah.
Glenn, no, I would advise going. It's a lot of fun. It's just it's a nightmare, and I tell everybody the same thing. You might want to do a little walking like 3 months ahead of time, because
Yeah.
because the way the hotels are set up, some are on top of the hill, some on the bottom of the hills. There's a lot of up and down hills going on there.
Yeah, Dragon Con takes over all of downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Peachtree Center, like the Sheridan is the one that's up on the hill. You have to walk up the
Yeah.
little hill, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it? It's at the bottom of the hill, and the rest of them are up.
Yeah,
So you're
they're
going to end up
it's
walking
kinda,
up and down the sidewalk. You
You
know, if you're
do.
going to get involved in all the programming, you're going to be between. I think they have 6 different hotels now.
Well, Jack, I learned how to cheat. You walk across the hotels and then take the escalators down.
Right, and there is that fun catwalk between like the America's market, the American market, and then and whenever I go to Dragon Con, I stay at the West End. That's the Riders. It's kind of like we think that's the Riders Hotel when you're there, and we all get together, you know, at night and network downstairs in the West End bar. That's like one of my favorite things. But, yeah. Last time I was at Dragon Con, I was on 17 different hours of programming, and I walked all over that place. I mean, I was everywhere. And my last one of the panels I had, it was about it was an epic fantasy panel, and it was downstairs in the bottom of Hilton, the one where the big walk around the oh my gosh. And I was almost late because we had to cut through everybody cosplaying and stuff like that. I should have left like an hour ahead of time, and I left like 15 minutes because I'm thinking, I know the way there. I can cut through this and cut through that. Well, cutting through the people really kind of nipped me.
Yeah.
And nipped
there's a lot
schedule.
of people there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic to get through.
I think there was like 78,000 people there at that one particular moment that I was just describing.
Yeah.
Well, no, none of these places are good if you don't like being touched by people or you're scared of crowds. No, but other than that, they're a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
I was in 3 of the hotels last time I was there. Yes. Yeah. You're not going to make everything that says impossible. It's just too much for you. You can try, and I've talked to a few people while I was doing interviews that were really giving it the go for, but it's just too much. You know,
there's too much going on.
And there's a lot. It goes late into the night. People think, oh, it closed at 9 or 10. No, it actually went pretty late into the night.
Yeah, it keeps going. And the thing with Dragon Con is like sometimes if you're not careful, you'll end up standing in a line for 3 hours to get into a certain panel. You know, because the lines will wrap around, you know, outside onto the sidewalk and stuff like that. So planning is super important when you go to one of the giants like Dragon Con. Like that's one of the reasons we were talking about, you know, with Superstars. We want to keep it small so that the opportunity is still there. And if it sells out, well, you know, then it's just going to be sold out. But we have something that we're trying to deliver, and that's like we want everybody to be able to learn. And if it gets too big, we feel like we're not going to be able to teach.
In the old days, they always thought 400 or 500 was a good conference size.
Yeah.
It's now, you know, we got these super conferences now, which are different, but those go and come. I've seen them when I was a kid growing up. They were just different things, and they turned into something else, or I should say, they morphed into something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying not to do. It's
well, that's what happens. I mean, they do. Well, you don't. What do you mean, Jimmy? You know, you don't see as many independent Star Wars and Star Trek conferences like you used to because of things like Dragon Con and San Diego and Tampa, because all that stuff's there. It's all there. Oh yeah, I got 2 lightsabers. I got one right there and one somewhere else. Where is that? Where is that little sucker? It's back.
Where are you, John?
He just made it back.
That was weird. My computer just died, so I'm on my phone now.
No. That's a nightmare. It's a nightmare when you're doing something like this, your computer dying. That's one of the reasons I'm on my desktop. There's like nothing quite like having your laptop give you a bing that it's getting ready to die when you're in the middle of something like
this.
We
always tell people they should be on their desktop when they're doing these kind of things. One, they're way more stable than anything else. Yeah. It's a better picture, a better view comes off of them. They generally have better video on them and better audio on them. And they're way more stable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have wired connections going to their desktop, whereas everything else is wireless. So.
Yeah.
And even though wireless technology is a lot better than it used to be, it still has issues.
Yes, it does. There are still so many issues. You're right. It's like tech issues abound wherever.
Yeah, I was a friend of mine was doing a UFO conference in in Miami. He calls me about, and I wasn't even down there. I was actually in Tampa with some friends. He says, Joe, I'm having tech issues. I said, what do you want me to? He said, Joe, I know what your degrees are in. He said, one of them's in advanced electronics. He said, come see me, please. I'm like, they had shit screwed up. It was a disaster. I said, and how much am I getting paid for this again? I said, this is going to take me some time to get this fixed. But we got the Bluetooth up and running really fast, so they could at least start sending stuff out and connecting, because all their mics were Bluetooth. They didn't have any
Oh
wired
boy.
mics or anything, so they had to get it all running. I don't know what they did,
Mm-hmm.
but they got it running pretty fast, and they were happy. And then everything else, I told them, so right now you're going to have to take money the old-fashioned way.
Uh-oh.
I said, tell them to go take their little credit card and go get some cash, and it was weird, but I think it took the thing lasted for 5 days. It took us about 7 hours to get everything back to where it was supposed to. But they were also broadcasting it live too, so that took a little time.
I can't stand tech issues. I really
Well,
can't.
it's not as bad as it used to be. Things are a little easier to fix now, and doing a live broadcast from a conference isn't what it used to be. It doesn't involve all these big cameras or all this heavy tech. There's way simpler, easier ways to do it now. A good camera and a good mic, you can broadcast HD quality anywhere in the world. So
yeah,
it's a different thing now, and you can see, we had it set up so you could each conference, or I should say each lecture, was broadcasting live to its own audience, which was a paid for audience, by the way.
Yeah.
So they had to pay to watch that live conference.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so you got to make sure your stuff's working, because if not, you're going to be doing a lot of refunds.
Yeah.
They made a lot of money. I think they either tied or made more on people watching from online than people actually attending the conference.
So we get a lot of questions at Superstars. Are you guys ever going to, offer some virtual, offer a way to tune in virtually? We haven't done that yet, just because we do better in person.
Yeah,
right.
Well, no,
the
that's
networking
true.
and everything, it has to happen in person. It really does.
Well, so I can show you a way that it's still very personal, even though the person's not actually there. The way our connections work now, you can make it up close and personal.
Yeah,
You can
still
really
don't think
get.
that we would want to do it. We
Yeah.
like being
Well,
together too much. So yeah, but I mean, we're doing things like where you can buy the audio files from all of the talks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We do that, but virtual stuff, we've talked about the best way, to move forward, and whether we're just going to do the main room or something like that. So we are talking about it, but currently we do not offer it.
Well, being what y'all are saying, the best way for y'all would be to do it is just to have it as a background play and not to interact with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Just to have it so people could view it and listen, but not to interact with it. No taking of questions or things like that, or directly interviewing or interacting.
Yeah, that would add so much.
It just adds so much time to it. Anytime you open up an audience from online for a question, I'm just watching my messenger go by as we're talking. Just the amount of stupid questions that have been clicking by, and people get mad at me. Say, "Well, I sent you a question. I wasn't asking that dumb question. Get out of here."
I've been in those Facebook lives where it's really hard to track all the questions. It's almost impossible.
Well, I keep these are set up a little different, because now Facebook lets you put all your messengers together, and I have I have 14 Facebook pages, but I have 3 personal pages.
My gosh, I would be insane.
So it's always
Facebook,
somebody.
Just one account is enough to make a person nuts sometimes. I don't know how you're pulling that off.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
You just got to know how to combine them. And
I like Instagram. I love Instagram.
Instagram's tied in with it too.
If I'm going to post, normally I'm posting on Instagram, and normally it's a photo of one of my bunnies or a cat or one of the dogs.
Well, my Chihuahuas have their own TikTok channel. So
do they?
Yeah, they do. Lola the Chihuahua has her own TikTok channel.
Oh, wow. Well, I have 3 bunnies, 2 cats, and 2 dogs. So that would be 7 different TikTok channels. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm just going to have them keep living vicariously through me.
What happens is, if I happen to be in the system when they do something, I record a video. Like my little white Chihuahua, she decided one day there was a brownie laying on my bed. and I went to reach for it. And she grabbed it with her teeth and started dragging it backwards. I'm like, you better give me my damn brownie. And the more she got all frustrated, growling and snarling at me, I said, "This is not funny. Give me my brownie back." So I posted it to the video. I think it got like 50,000 plays in no time at all.
Yeah.
And
I
people
don't know.
just
You
like
haven't
Lola.
lived until you've shared a banana with a bunny.
Yeah, Lola. I can put Lola on just standing there. She'll get 100,000 plays. She's just cute. Now she's got a gray beard or a white beard, I should say.
Did you
She's
say your
matching.
dog's
Yeah.
name is Lola?
Yes, her name's Lola.
Oh, that's
She's
the name
Lola
of
the
my bunny.
Chihuahua. Yeah, she's Lola the Chihuahua. Her
Nice.
sister is Princess Fiona, and she's Lola. And,
Cool.
yeah, they're demons, is what they are. What's that, Jackie? Well, okay. So you heard her talking about the also. So I would say go by writersofthefuture.com, take the course, and then maybe talk with these people and learn more.
Yeah, you can check out our stuff at superstarswriting.com. But Writers of the Future, John and Emily, they come to Superstars every year, and they're a big part of our programming at Superstars. It's always one of the parts that I really look forward to is when they show up. So, and you guys are going to be selling at our public book sale this year. Is that right? You said maybe you were looking at that. So they're going to have a booth set up at our public book sale. We do those on Wednesday night, the Wednesday night before our business seminars. So, and that's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Our public book sale, it's becoming quite the thing. So Emily and John are going to have a big booth selling this year. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. WritersOfTheFuture.com. Read the rules before you submit, people. That's all I'm telling you.
Yep. Like if you're already a published author, you need to pay attention to the guidelines when you plan to submit to Writers of the Future, because if you've already sold a certain amount or made a certain amount of book deals, you need to pay really close attention. I think that's why I don't get
that's
to
the problem with Kevin. Yeah, you can't do it. Maria and Kevin disqualified himself. He entered, I think, 17, 18, 19 times, and the term is pro'd out. So
yep,
he was no longer qualified because he sold too much professionally.
Yep.
That's the same problem that Brandon Sanderson happened with him. He entered once and was an honorable mention. Hugh Howey was even entered once. We had several of our judges. Rob Sawyer, he entered several times and he pro'd out. So yeah, a lot of the guys.
I think I did the math and I pro'd out even before I got to submit one time. I was talking with Joni and she's telling me what you have to do and everything. I'm like, uh-oh. I see a problem here. And
yeah.
What's that, Carly? No, they're geeking out, man. What can I tell you? Authors are geeks, man. Yes, they are. Everyone I've ever met is. Actually, there's a deal that if you win, I get 10% when you become rich. Just keep that in mind ahead of time. Okay?
Win what?
When they win the contest and then they go on and be big and famous, I want my 10%. I don't care what they win. I want my 10%. No, get out of here.
Well, I mean, I hope they do become a winner because
I've
been watching this trend, and we end up with like a handful or more of the authors who win in one capacity or another. They have won Rise of the Future, like they're an honorable mention or something like that. We have so many. There's a lot of cross-pollination there. Between Writers of the Future and Superstars. I really enjoy figuring out who has placed and what they've done with Writers of the Future when they show up at Superstars. That's always a good time.
But Jack, you mean the network? No, the only people the network backs for contests is Writers of the Future. No, I've been to other ones. I went to the one in New York, but no, I didn't like the one in New York because I found out I'm not going to talk about it on air, but I found out things that I just didn't like. Well, that's why John wrote me because I'm not a real trusting person. So if people are going to be putting their name, their life, and their work on, I want to know it's legit. I don't know. You know what? I will ask my station manager if she will look and see how many contests there are, and then I will have one of the other station hosts go through them, and then we'll have a meeting and we'll see what's legit and what's not. And then I'll ask these people right here what they think. Yeah, how's that? I don't mind putting up a list. I mean, I know all of y'all are trying to get out there and get your name in the public and become famous and rich and be the next Orson Scott Card or something along those lines. I know that's what
Well,
y'all are.
Writers of the Future is a great way to get started. I mean, you get to learn a lot, number one, but submitting your work is actually a learning curve in itself. And submitting to Writers of the Future can help you because you learn to do it through them, and then submitting your stuff to agents and things like that. You've got that training. So it is actually one of the best places to start.
That's right.
I get to go next year too. I get to go to
I know
Writers of
you're
the
finally
Future.
going to make it. So
I'm finally going to make it. I was this close to being able to go last year, but I had another speaking engagement. I was giving a keynote at a different conference, and I didn't get to go. I'm keeping my calendar clear this year so that I can go to Writers of the Future, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
Clarissa, just 4 times a year, baby. You can submit 4 times a year. Just submit it.
Yeah,
I get a lot of questions at just doing my job at Superstars. I get a lot of questions from people who want to know how and when they can submit to Writers of the Future. And at first, I mean, I didn't know that you could submit 4 times a year. I did not know. I had to go and do my research.
Yeah, so now we're at the end of, this is the 4th quarter now we're in of year 41. So this ends September 30th. And that's the end of year number 41. So if you got a story or can get one written, then get it written and submitted so that you have an opportunity to make it in. And the thing too is like, okay, this is my story. Okay, that's fine if you read it as you're the author, but if it's like it's your claim to fame is your story, that should be one of, there's no scarcity of ideas, and you should definitely have no scarcity of stories. And that's one thing you need to get over, because an author has to be able to, especially if you're writing speculative fiction, you've got to be able to just do it over and over and over and over again.
Serena, I don't think there's any rules about any countries unless you
No.
just can't get here. As far as I know, they've had winners from all over the place. China seems to be dominating. Yeah.
We have winners from 50 countries. We've had problems. We've had a couple of winners from Iran who we couldn't get visas here. We had a winner from South Africa who we couldn't get here because he was single, and so they didn't want to give him a visa in case he wouldn't come back. We had somebody from Turkey we couldn't get because of that reason. So we'll have that type of a problem where we can't get a visa. You can enter, I don't know of any countries right now. We have entries from over 175 countries, winners from 50. But the main problem is like getting a visa sometimes, where you need to have a job at your country or a family or something so that they know you're going to come back and not just leave and never come back.
Pete, we broadcast all over. We tell everybody around the world, go check them out. Any chance to get. Denise, he will be in Germany, and I'm not going to tell you when. You'll have to find out on your own. But
it's the Frankfurt Book Fair. You can find out Frankfurt Book Fair. It's October.
I don't know. You might be a stalker. I can't just be telling you where the man's at. I don't know. You could be a stalker.
John wants to be found. He wants people to come
he
and
wants
see
to
him.
be stalked.
Not necessarily stalkers, but he wants to talk to people.
No, Chris, I know who you are, but you can. John's a nice guy. Buy him lunch if you see him. Yes, none of them skanky lunches either. I mean real lunch. Yes. What do you mean buy me? Yeah, no, you buy me lunch. I want no. I want a porterhouse. No, we ain't playing around. Lobster on the side. No BS. I'm from the South, sweet. I'm a big guy. I don't eat that little food they eat out in LA, man. I eat real food.
So the one reason that I've always wanted to go to New Orleans is I hear that the food is phenomenal.
Well, last time he was down here, I put 5 pounds on his wife in 3 days.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes, and I didn't even take him to the good place. We didn't get a chance because we was running around doing too much other stuff.
Yummy. Yeah. Well, I love seafood.
I did force him to eat some beignets.
Oh my gosh!
So the bad part is all 3 of us are dressed in black.
Oh, so did you get powdered sugar all over yourself?
Yeah, we were well behaved. We did pretty good, Alan.
So we have a little beignet shop here in Manitou Springs, and the people, I believe, are from New Orleans, but they are so good. So we have authentic, an authentic beignet shop.
They're good. They make good late night snacks too, and they're not as fattening as people think they are. Jeffrey, you mean in New Orleans? I tell everybody the same thing. If you're in the city of New Orleans, don't eat on the restaurants up by the river. That's for the tourists. The food's just going to be hot. It's not going to be spicy. There's a difference. Spicy means good,
Yeah.
not hot. Okay, when you hear Cajun or coon ass like myself say spicy, we're not talking about overheating. We're talking about, there'll be at least 14 different spices in there, and the trilogy's
Yeah.
always in it.
I don't like food when it gets so hot that you can't enjoy the flavor.
And
That's what I don't like about
and then
spicy
people
food.
get confused because we don't really eat. We do have hot food down here, mind you, but we're not really into that as much as we are into just spicy good food. Crawfish are good, yeah. The blue crabs are fabulous. Stuffed mushrooms. I make blue crab stuffed mushrooms make you cry for them damn things.
That sounds fantastic.
That's another thing too.
So now
Most of us are
hungry.
good cooks. Yeah. So am I actually. No, Jimmy. Actually, most of the guys in New Orleans are good cooks. Yeah, you learn very young. Yeah. Mama get you in the kitchen, put you to work. You learn real young. Well, my family, but we've only
just came up
several
over here.
restaurants.
I'm gonna need to go back to nothing because I'm at work as well right now. I just got.
Oh dear.
We done made
Excellent,
John
so-
hungry. That's what it is. Don't let him lie, guys.
Yeah,
we done made him
I'm
hungry. He's going to
gonna
find some food.
I'll go find some
He's
Cajun
probably
food.
texting Emily, bring
Yeah.
me some food, man. Bring me
Bring me some
food.
Cajun food.
Yeah.
Have we really been
It's,
on for an hour and a half? What time is it?
It's 7 minutes to.
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're-
so yeah, the
7
little
minutes to
live
6,
up
yeah.
here. You guys must have been live before I got here.
Yeah,
Never mind.
we were chit chatting.
I was like, holy cow, that was a fast hour and a half.
No, we were just chit chatting about other stuff.
You've been about 45 minutes, Marie.
But we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let you plug away and let you plug anything that you want to plug, anywhere you want them to find you or anything.
Oh,
And then
like
I'm
right
going
now?
to go find
Can you
food.
let me
Yeah,
know
go
when you
ahead.
want me to
Plug.
do
No,
that?
go ahead.
So
Just plug away.
I'll be right now. So anyway, it's so nice to talk to you, Marie, and we'll be in touch also about as the planning for Superstars happens.
Yes, I'm really
Well,
looking forward to it. So yeah, you can find me at mariewhitaker.com or that one link with the QR code that we were showing earlier for the Lola Hopscotch stuff. That's like what I've got going on right now. That's my big news, and the things that I'm most excited about is the anti-bullying plush that we're going to be creating.
Anti-bullying's a good thing. I'm all for you. That's not,
Yeah,
if
there
you got
it
enough
is.
crazy, y'all
Yeah.
can see it, guys. So it's going to be there on the screen. If you can't find it later on, it'll still be there. So you'll be able to find it. It's remember, anything that's in an archive is in an archive for life. So you can come back and look for it. Now it's real close to the end of the show now, so you can come back and find it at the end of the show, and take a look around, see what you like.
Yeah.
See if you can help out, I guess is a better way of saying it.
Yeah, supporting that campaign is going to be a big deal. We want to reach like everybody who has kids, or everybody who's like some sort of a caregiver for kids, teachers, librarians, daycare workers, all of those. Anybody who might end up reading a book to a kid, that's who we're trying to reach with that campaign. Just because those books have been proven to help kids with bullying.
Oh yeah, it does. What do you mean, Mark? No, I was bullied and a bully, so yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, I was bullied when I was a kid. I've been bullied as an adult. It's like it's a cycle.
I've had some people try to bully me as an adult. I'm a big ugly
Yeah.
guy. They tend to stop after a little while.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not cool, it's not the cool way to be anymore. So mean girls and crap like that, it's kind of out.
it's I was picking on some of my jock friends, and I said, it's interesting because all of my friends who have degrees in science now are all very wealthy and married to very beautiful women, by the way. And one of my friends, he said, I don't understand. I said the geeks took the planet over, my friend.
Yep.
I said, and when it comes right down to it, the majority of us prefer brains over bronze. I said, that should tell the whole world something. I said, eventually it will tell the whole world something. I said, we really do. It's if when it comes right down to it as a society, that's what we prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because people, we want to live to be long and happy lives and not nuke the planet off the face of the universe.
Yeah.
These are things we'd all like.
Priorities, thinking about the longevity of your family.
Nobody's on launch no nukes. Don't buy into the BS. Putin has children himself. He don't want to nuke nobody. No, I mean, but the more we show as a society of brilliant people, the more likely it is that we're not going to do something stupid. And think if we start curing cancer and stuff like that, people will start to relax. Lifespans start to make 120 years. People will relax even more. But bullying does have to go away, because I noticed I was talking with one. I actually have great grandchildren, by the way.
Wow. No way.
Yes, we're not going to go
Well,
there.
congratulations. I have one grandbabe, and he is made of
I
pure
have,
magic.
I have, I have what, 4 grandkids, and 6 great grandkids.
Nice.
And they're actually not even little. They're actually kind of getting big now.
Hmm.
And so one of them tells me one day, she goes, "I'm being bullied." I said, "Well, what are you doing about it?" She said, "What should I do? Should I tell the teacher?" I said, "Well, what do you think is going to be your best course here?" And she says, she calls me Big Joe. She goes, "I just want to punch her in the head."
Oh my gosh.
I said, "Sweetie, it's not going to really solve me." She said, "Make me feel better, though, Big Joe." I'm like, "I'm sure it would." I said, "But you're the one who's going to get in trouble for not the one that was bullying on you." I said, "The best way," I said, "if you don't want to be a tattletale, that's fine. I can understand that." I said, "I really can." I said, "But put yourself in a position where you're close and near a teacher so that next time you're being bullied, the teacher sees it for herself. And then you don't have to be the bad guy."
Yeah, that would
So
help.
she set him up and got all three of the girls suspended. And she comes, next time I see her, she jumps up. "See, it worked." I said, "Let's not be plotting all the time now, sweetie. It's just, because you so, we kids these days are really fast learners."
Yeah, they are.
I'm thinking y'all already know more than I do. I'm like, just calm down.
Well,
What's
they
that?
have to put up with cyberbullying. Like when
There
I was a
is,
kid,
there
there
is.
wasn't cyberbullying. They have to put up with
Well,
cyberbullying
but
now,
see,
and
by him,
that's huge.
cyberbullying, I tell all the grandkids the same thing. Just click goodbye. And they're like,
Yeah.
I said, "Don't get involved in it." I said, "Someone says you something stupid. Look," I said, "let me show you how this works. Watch." I said, "Remember, Big Joe's been in computers a long time. Let me show you work that." Click. And they're like, "Big Joe." I said, "No, watch. Click." "Oh, shit, they're gone." And they're like, I'm like, "Oh, look, they're gone again." It's Big Joe. I'm like, "Oh, click. Look, they're gone again. Damn." I said, eventually they get the message and just leave you alone, because bullies want a reaction. If you don't give them a
Yeah.
reaction, it's hard for them to be a bully anymore.
It takes the fun right out of it.
And then I said, "Don't always forget him. Tell him you have a crazy grandpa who's special forces, who's 6 foot tall and 250 pounds." I said, just remind him of this from time to time. Trust me, they'll be less likely to mess with you. They're funny as hell, though, they really are. But they're adjusting, and yeah, I'm glad to see it. I'm with you. I just would rather not see it at any level at all. I
Yeah.
don't. Just bullying,
Well, I mean, it's always going to be there. Giving the kids the tools to handle it when it does happen is the key. And communication is also the key. And so
I,
that's why the books that I created, they have a strong communication hook at the end. Each one of them does, so that the kids, they don't want to talk about it. It's something that made them uncomfortable, and getting them to talk a lot of times is hard. They clam up, they get home, and they don't want to think about what
I don't
happened
want to
at
think
school.
about it. That's
So getting
exactly
them to
true.
talk about it, that's the key.
It's very important. Well, no, because usually when you can talk things through people, it works it out faster.
Yep.
No, bullies bully because they don't know anything better. Most of them are bullies because of other problems in their lives.
Yeah.
And this is the way they deal with those problems.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, they don't come from a perfect world either. So, this is all is big, stemming from different parts of our society that have beat down on kids in different ways.
It's rough. It's rough, people. Being a child is rough in this country.
It's hard.
It's and at least parents are a little bit, I don't want to say completely educated, but a little bit more educated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can spot it now. And see, when I was a kid, if I got into a fight in school, kid, or I got bullied, my grandpa was like, "You better go back and beat the what out of somebody."
That's what my dad told me. He's like,
Yeah, that's exactly the truth. And then, but see, when my son got, I said, "No, that's not how you deal with this."
yeah,
I said, "First off, why is he bullying you? What's going on?" I wanted to know the whole story.
yeah,
And then I told him how to deal with it, because, violence is not always to answer people.
yeah. It's not.
And I
It's
could have
not the
taught
way
my
to go
son all
about
kind
it.
of, being special forces, I could have taught my son all kind of stuff that would have really messed up a bully. It didn't matter if he was bigger or not. But that wasn't the proper way of teaching him how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And in the end, they worked it out. No, I wish I was a psychologist. I'd be a lot richer if I was. Look, y'all don't understand a lot, because of some of the other fields I'm in, some of the research I do. A lot of people think I'm a psychologist. They will call and tell me their whole entire life, and I'm like, y'all can
I think you've just got one of those. You've got one of those voices, one of those faces where you're open to
Even
stuff
before I
like
was
that.
into all of this, the people just, my wife would be like, "Did they just come and tell you your whole life?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Why?" I said, "I don't know." And I mean, all kind of details. They wouldn't even tell their own family. But it's a stranger, so you can vent stuff and not have to offend somebody in your own family.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys, but we got to go. What? One last question. What is it? She just told you where she was going to be.
What, like my next conference or?
They were asking about, where did it go? I think
They
they were
asking about
asking,
Superstars?
yeah, that's what they were asking about.
Superstarswriting.com. You can get all of the information there. If you're thinking about registering and you're an author, I have a code that you can use to give you $100 off.
There
It
you go.
is Marie1371, all caps, no spaces. One more time, it's Marie1371, all caps, no spaces. That will get you $100 off your registration if you'd like to come to Superstars. And you can register at superstarswriting.com.
Well, I don't know that anybody at John and them hang out that aren't really good at what they do, so not anybody yet. He's introduced to me a lot of people. Again, so far, everybody he's introduced me to is serious about what they do.
Yeah, John's got
They're serious and
connections.
they're fun, but a lot of them are fun people too.
We have a lot of fun in our network.
Yeah.
We seriously have a lot of fun. But I mean, so the way it happens at Superstars, we're all like one group. We don't really, we bring in, people who are more successful and stuff like that, who love to teach about how they got where they are. Our instructors sit in the same hall as everybody else. We've all got a chair in one main hall, and then we all break off to go to different places and see different talks. But everybody is approachable. We don't teach that these people are not, you're not supposed to walk up and talk to them or something like that. You are supposed to walk up and talk to them. So yeah, that's how it works at Superstars. That's why it's so important that we stay in person, because the teachers are supposed to be accessible, right? If it were virtual,
that's the way it is. And I, with y'all's group and John's group, I mean, it's really nice to actually see this.
Yeah.
But people in the old days, everybody was all snotty and wanted to be behind something. You could only get up to the table. You couldn't really talk to them unless they were at the table and stuff.
That's
not
not
how
good.
it is anymore.
That's not a learning environment.
No. And like when I'm at Writers of the Future, because I noticed a couple of years now, I've been there 5 years now, I've noticed sometimes the winners are a little bit standoffish. So I'll go over there because they'll be staring at one of the like last year they kept staring at Kevin J. And I was like, he was over there talking with Wesley Dean Smith. And I was like, I said, you want to talk to him? He said, yeah, but we don't want to. I said, no, come here with me. And they're like, what? I said, just come on. I said, I'm not an author, so I can give these guys shit. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, I'm pressed. They got to be nice to me. He's like, what? I said, yeah, they got to be nice to you. I'm pressed. And he started laughing. I said, that's not really true. I said, but so I got all five of them, walked them over there. And I said, look, I introduced them to them. And I said, y'all introduced. I said, they just had some questions to y'all mind. I said, oh, no, sit down, have a drink, get something to eat. And Kevin said, well, I'm going to go to dinner in a little while. Y'all want to come with me? I mean, that's the kind of people they are.
That's Kevin in a nutshell. He's got a teacher's heart.
He does. So
he's one of the most
so keep that in mind, people. I mean, don't be stupid when you're approaching people, but
yeah, be respectful. But at the same time, these people they have teaching in their blood. So they're not.
They want y'all to be successful. They would like to see a new book to read that's really good. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah. Well, seeing success stories is actually one of the best parts. If you met somebody when they were a younger writer, I don't mean a younger human, but I mean a younger writer, younger in their career, and then you bump into them 5 years later and they have, all these books out and they're really happy and successful with what they've done. That's the best part of this whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, we all burnt out a little bit, Marty. We all burnt out a little bit during COVID. I mean, come on. Everybody consumed more books and more. There was just nothing. I hate to say it like that because there's billions of things to watch, but most everybody got burnt out at some point. There was just nothing new for them, whatever genres people are into. Had read it theirself out or watched theirself out or both. And we're looking for new. So now we're in a point where we have all these new people coming in and we need to see new, fresh material. I'm not like Pete Morrison said, and I was in New York, and he was one of the real famous editors up there for the Times. It's like he said, imagination is gone in the United States. We just keep rehashing old shit. And and if you would
necessarily true.
Well, no, I agree. Now, if you'd have asked me this same question 15 years ago, I would have agreed with him. But because of getting to read all of these, because every year I get a new one to read, I realized that, you know what? It's not dead because a lot of these stories are unique. They're not rehashing of old material. So it helped me to realize that they were absolutely wrong, and there were lots of new stories out there and lots of new venues. So
There are.
when I came up to do my lecture that day, he was in the room and we got to talking. And I said I really respect you. I said, you know, you big boss of the Times. I mean, that's a big way to go, New York Times. I said, but let me tell you something. I said I agree with what you said for a long time, and I said, and then I said on a footnote, I had to tell him the whole story about how I met John, you know, because I was so mean to John in the beginning. And I said, this guy wrote to me about this contest, and I wrote back, told me he was full of you know what. And I said, finally, he invited me out to look at it. And I started reading these books. I said, now I'm back about 14 books. I said, all these stories are unique. They don't run up against each other. They don't sound like each other. There's stories in there that are really, really good that taken into much bigger stories could make good movies. I said, some of these writers are going to be some of the people in the future that give us the next new movies. I said, so in that aspect, I said, I think you were wrong. There is still imagination left on the planet. I said, I do agree that we remake entirely too much crap. And I don't know why we have to redo an origin story 15 times when it's the same thing. And I said, sometimes we do get a little crazy with the wokeness. I said, but in general, there is still imagination out there. I said, and I'm glad to know there is. I said, because I was getting a little aggravated there myself, because for a while there, it seemed like every time I heard a new movie or TV or a book, it was just some play on something else or a remake of something.
Well, I mean, you'll have that too. I mean, especially if like even Netflix is a really good example of this. But there's all the magical schools shows on right now after Harry Potter was so popular. You know, now you have all the schools of magic shows and stuff like that. So that's kind of an example of it. I'm not saying it's bad stuff or anything, but I'm saying it's kind of like a lot of people rode that wave, you know? So
what do you mean, Frankie? I liked Harry Potter. No, I said I didn't like. I'm not a big fan of J.K. Rowling, but I like Harry Potter.
I like Harry Potter.
No, okay. So y'all get confused when I say stuff like this. I like her work. I just some of her personal beliefs I just don't agree with. But
there was a situation with her. 2 years ago there was a situation with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. So, but her books I'm fine with. I'm fine with her style of writing. I have nothing to do with. She's a billionaire. This is where America, for anybody on the planet, gets screwed sometimes. You don't necessarily have to like the person who's providing the entertainment. As long as they're not like a baby rapist or killer, it doesn't really matter. They're not doing you any harm. They're giving you something good to watch. We're not going to always agree. You know, we tell this to people. Matter of fact, when I do this lecture, one of the first things I tell young authors and illustrators and stuff is, don't share your politics. You end up getting rid of half your audience.
Especially like this day and age and where we are in the U.S. right now, everything is really...
You just don't, because if you do, you just eliminated half your damn audience. I mean,
it's polar right now.
And unfortunately, big Hollywood people have had to find this out the hard way. It's just you can't... The country's too polarized for us to be... No, I wish we could all go around and say, oh, I like this one, I like that one, I like this one, and not be a big deal. But we're not at that position in our country right now. So, so it's better just not to worry about it.
I don't post any politics at all. It seems like when I do have a friend, and I always teach this, I teach young writers, never, never, never post about politics or religion on any of your social media.
Stay away from it.
But they do it, and I have seen them get burned down.
Oh, yes, I've seen big authors come out and say stuff and get their burn.
I can think of a couple right now that have made some serious social media mistakes, but
it's just okay, Frank. If that's what you want and you're that conviction to that, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying when your profits go down by half, don't cry to anybody because you did that to yourself. Because this group is not going to agree with that group, and if it's the two big groups and you decide to offend one of them, they're not going to buy your books anymore. We've gotten to the age of not buying things when people offend you. So I don't know if I like the book I'm buying. I don't give a shit what their politics. So I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't care what their politics are. If I like the book, I'm buying. Or if I want to see the movie, I'm watching. Well, somebody told me about Avatar. If I was to get all wrapped up in stuff like Disney's politics, I'd never watch another thing Disney produced. I don't want to do that, man. They got some good stuff sometimes. I've always been a big fan of Disney. I just stay out of their current political. I just stay out of it. It's easier for me.
Well, Joe,
I
I
do.
have to. I'm sorry, but it
Oh,
is time for
you
me
need
to
to get
get
out of here.
going.
Yeah, we're 10 minutes past the hour. I'm surprised somebody
Yeah,
hasn't
it's
beat
been
this.
fun. We just keep getting on these little tangents and
Yeah,
discussing things.
so
There's been a lot of
no,
fun.
we no, Bruce, we got to go. No, I didn't realize it was 10. I think it was like 1 hour.
Yeah, I didn't either. I
Uh,
just happened to
and
look at the
so,
clock. I did get
uh,
hungry though when you were talking about all the stuff, and
yes,
so
and
that
so
made
did
me
I
look
because I
at
actually
the
get to my
clock.
food. But we're gonna go,
But
guys. Y'all can catch her. She told you everywhere you can find her. Get involved. Pay attention. You see down here. Plus, just let me pop it up one more time before we go. There you go. So if you
oh,
can't get
thank
it
you.
now, it will be on the end of the archive, so it'll be available. So be sure to go check it out. And on that note, we got to go, guys, because I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and the author's Quill. Until next week, have some fun. Enjoy your life. Be nice to people. Good
Yep.
night, everyone.
Be